Hello, my friends. Today, I want to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. How many years have you been learning English? 2 years? 5 years? Maybe 10? Now, here is another question. If someone speaks English to you right now, can you answer them? Not perfectly, not beautifully. Just answer. Can you open your mouth and say something back? You know what hurts the most? It's not that you don't know English. It's that moment when someone speaks to you and your mind goes blank. You understand everything, but you say nothing. Maybe you just smile or say yes, even when you want to say more. And later, you think about it again and again. I knew what to say, but I couldn't say it. If you feel this way, I want to tell you something important. Sometimes it's not just about English. It's about that feeling that you are not good enough. Maybe other people think you're not confident. Maybe you feel like you missed your chance. The problem is not your vocabulary. The problem is not your grammar. The problem is your system, the way you learned English. You were told to memorize words, study grammar, be perfect before you speak. But that system is broken. And the worst part is, you start to blame yourself. You think, maybe I'm not good at English. Maybe this is too hard for me. But listen carefully. That is not true. You didn't fail. The system failed you because that system was not made to help you speak. It was made to help you pass tests. You were never taught how to speak in real life. You were taught how to be correct. But communication is not about being correct. It's about being clear. And speaking is very different from passing a test. I know this because my story was different. I did not learn English in the classroom. I did not study grammar books. I learned English by talking. When I was 12, I stood outside a hotel and spoke to strangers. My English was very simple. I used words like go, need, want, help, feel. Simple words, basic words, words a child can understand. But those words changed my life. And here is something very important. Simple words are not just the beginning of English. In real life, in real conversations, simple words are almost everything. There is a simple idea I want to share with you. Researchers say that about 500 to 600 common words make up around 80% of daily conversation. Not books, not academic writing, real conversations, real life. Think about that for a moment. If you truly master 521 words, not just understand them, but use them comfortably, you can handle most real life situations in English. A job interview, a meeting, ordering food, talking to a new friend. You don't need thousands of words to start speaking. You need the right words used in the right way. And what about the other 20%? You can learn it later. When you speak, you will hear new words. You will ask questions. You will learn from real situations. But if you never speak, you never get that chance. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you are in a meeting and someone asks you a question. You know the answer. You understand everything, but you stay silent because you are looking for perfect words. That moment is not about vocabulary. It is about confidence. The 80% gets you into the conversation. And once you are inside, the other 20% comes naturally. So why do so many people still struggle after years of learning? Because they focus on the wrong thing first. They try to learn difficult words. They study complex grammar. They wait until they feel ready, but that moment never comes. So they don't speak. And because they don't speak, they don't improve. It becomes a circle, a cycle that keeps repeating. Today, I want to help you break that cycle. Let me give you a very simple system you can follow every day. You don't need something complicated. You need something you can repeat. Here is the system. Use simple words. Connect them. Speak out loud. That's it. Step 1. Choose a few simple words you already know. Step 2. Connect them into a sentence using and, but, or, because. Step 3. Say the sentence out loud. Not in your head, out loud. You can do this in just 5 minutes. You can do this anywhere. And if you do this every day, your speaking will change. Not because you learn more, but because you use more. Let me tell you about a young man. I want you to imagine him clearly. His name is Jack. He is 24 years old. He works at a small company. Recently, his company started working with an international client. One day, his boss tells him, Jack, tomorrow you will join a call with a team in Singapore. Just introduce yourself and explain your role. Just one sentence. That's all. But that night, Jack cannot sleep. He feels nervous. His heart is beating fast. He keeps thinking, what should I say? What if I make a mistake? So he opens his English book. He starts studying grammar. He reviews tenses. He searches for difficult words. He tries to write a perfect script. At midnight, he has 6 different versions. At 2 in the morning, he deletes all of them. Nothing feels good enough. The next morning, the meeting starts. His manager says, Jack, please go ahead. Jack takes a breath. He says, hello, my name is Jack. I work in the... And then he stops. Silence. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. It feels very long. Everyone is waiting. No one speaks. And in that moment, Jack feels very small. He feels embarrassed. He feels stuck. Not because he doesn't know English, but because he is trying to be perfect. And after that moment, he keeps thinking about it the whole day. What should I say? Why didn't I say it? And this is how confidence slowly disappears. And he never practiced being real. Maybe you know this feeling. Maybe you are Jack. Many people have a moment like this. For example, at the airport, you are standing at the check-in counter. The staff smiles and asks you a simple question. Where are you flying today? Or, do you have any luggage? You understand the question. You know the words. But suddenly, your mind goes blank. You feel nervous. Your heart starts beating faster. And then you start thinking too much. Should I say it like this? Is this correct? And in that moment, you freeze. Not because the question is difficult, but because you are not used to speaking in real life. And after that, you feel a little disappointed because you know you could answer, but you didn't. When you want to speak, something happens inside your mind. A small voice starts talking to you. It says, what if I say it wrong? What if they don't understand me? What if they think my English is bad? And then you start thinking too much again. You try to find the perfect words. You try to make the perfect sentence. But the more you think, the more confused you feel. And slowly, your confidence goes down. Your mouth wants to speak, but your mind says, wait. So you stop, not because you don't know English, but because you don't feel safe to speak. And this happens again and again and again until one day you stop trying. After the call, his manager talks to him and says, Jack, relax next time. Just say simple things. Nobody expects perfect English. And this is very important. People are now waiting for perfect English. They are waiting for you to speak, to respond, to show that you understand, to show that you are part of the conversation. That is enough. Because in real life, if you don't speak, someone else will. And sometimes that moment does not come back. And here is the real consequence. In real life, if you don't speak, someone else will. In a meeting, someone else shares the idea. In a conversation, someone else connects with people. In an opportunity, someone else moves forward. And you stay quiet. Not because you are not smart, not because you don't understand, but because you didn't use your voice, and slowly this becomes your habit. You understand more, but you speak less, and the gap gets bigger. What Jack needed that night was not more grammar. He needed 3 simple sentences. My name is Jack. I work in the operations team. My job is to make sure projects are on time. That's it. Simple words, clear meaning, real communication. And that is what speaking English is really about. Before we continue, stay with me for a moment, because what you're about to learn next is the part that most people never understand. This is the reason why some people improve fast and others stay stuck for years. And it is actually very simple. If you understand this part, your English will start to feel easier, more natural, and more real. So don't just listen passively. Stay with me and try to use what I show you. I want to show you something important now. I want to show you not only that simple words are powerful, but also how to really use them in real life. Because there is a big difference between knowing that simple words work and knowing how to use them with confidence when you need them. Let's start with one word, need. This is one of the most useful words in English. It is simple, and almost every learner knows it. But many people use it in only 1 or 2 easy sentences, like, I need water, or I need help, and then they stop there. They do not see how much this one small word can do for them. Now, say this slowly after me. I need water. Good. That is a very simple sentence, but it is already real English. Now, let's take one small step further. I need more time to think about this. Now, let's make it more personal. I need your advice on something important. You can use a very simple pattern. I think, but so. For example, I think it's a good idea, but we need more time, so let's wait. Or, I need to understand the problem before I can give you an answer. Look at what just happened. We stayed with one simple word, but we moved from a basic need to a personal situation to a real professional sentence. This is how speaking grows. Not by learning harder and harder words all the time, but by learning how to use simple words in deeper and smarter ways. And this is where many learners get stuck. They know the word, but they do not know how to build with it. Many learners have this experience. They hear a simple word and understand it immediately. But when they try to speak, their mind goes blank. The problem is not that they know too little. The problem is that they have not practiced using simple English in a real way. They recognize it when they read or listen, but when it is time to speak, the word does not come out naturally. That is why practice is so important. You do not need to collect more and more vocabulary. If you are not using the words you already have. Now let's try another word. Think. I think it's good, simple, clear, natural. Anyone can say this. Now make it a little stronger. I think we need more time. Now turn it into a conversation. What do you think about this idea? I think it could really work. And now make it more professional and more polite. I don't think this is the right approach, but I'm open to hearing more. Again, look at the pattern. One simple word, several different uses, and each sentence sounds natural. Each one is something you could use in daily life, at work, in a discussion, or in a real conversation with another person. This is what I really mean. When I say 521 words can be enough, it is not about having a huge vocabulary. It is about using your vocabulary well. One word used in many real situations is more powerful than 10 difficult words that stay in your notebook and never come out of your mouth. So do not underestimate simple words. They are not small. They are the foundation. If you learn how to use them with confidence, they can carry you through most everyday conversations. And when that happens, your English starts to feel more natural, more useful, and more alive. Now, let me share something very important, something that most English learners completely miss. And when people understand this, they often say, "Why didn't I learn this earlier?" The secret is very simple. Connect to words. This is where many learners get stuck. Not because they don't know words, but because they don't know how to connect them. They have the words, but they don't know how to build a full idea. Words like and, but, so, because, when, if, before, and after. These small words are very powerful. They help your sentences flow. They help your ideas connect, and they are used in almost every real conversation. Let me show you a common problem. Many learners speak like this. I like the project. It is difficult. I need help. Each sentence is correct. There is no mistake. But when you say them like this, it sounds broken. It sounds like a list, not like real speaking. And the listener has to work harder to understand you. Now, listen to the difference. I like the project, but it is difficult, so I need help. Same words, same meaning, but now it sounds natural. It sounds like a real thought. And the other person can understand you easily. This is the moment many learners realize something important. You don't need more vocabulary. You just need to connect the words you already know. You don't need more words. You need more courage to use them. Let's take a real situation. Imagine you are talking to your colleague and you need to explain a delay. Without connectors, you might say, "The client changed the plan. We started again. It took more time. It is clear, but it feels cold and incomplete." Now, listen to this. The client changed the plan, so we had to start again. And that is why it took more time. Now, it sounds smooth. It sounds natural. It sounds like real communication. And here is the best part. You didn't use any difficult words. You just connected simple ideas together. So here is what I want you to do. Take 3 simple sentences you already know and connect them using and, but, so, or, because. Say them out loud. Say one sentence with me right now. Don't think too much. Just say it. Not in your head. Out loud. You will hear the difference immediately. Your English will not improve because you learn more words. Your English will improve when you learn how to use the words you already have. I want to give you something practical now. Not theory, not more rules. Something you can actually use today. 3 situations. 3 simple ways to speak. And I want you to say them out loud. Not in your head, not on paper, but with your real voice. Because speaking is not something you think. It is something you do. Before we start, remember this. You don't need perfect English. You just need clear English. That is enough. The first situation is work. Imagine you are in a meeting and someone asks for your opinion. This is where many people feel nervous, not because they don't have ideas, but because they try to say it perfectly. So let's make it simple. Start with this. I think it's a good idea. That's it. Simple, honest. You are already in the conversation. Now add one small idea. I think it's a good idea, but we need more time to plan. Now you are not just speaking. You are thinking. Now add a reason. I think it's a good idea, but we need more time to plan because last time we moved too fast, we made mistakes. Now you sound clear and professional. And now add a solution. So my suggestion is, let's take 2 more weeks. Look at that. You didn't use difficult words. You didn't use complex grammar, but you gave a complete answer. This is how real communication works. Not perfect, but connected. The second situation is something very simple, but also very stressful for many learners. Ordering food or buying something. Why is it stressful? Because the other person is waiting. You feel pressure. You feel like you must speak fast and correctly. And that's why your mind freezes. So again, keep it simple. Start with, I want this one. It works. It's clear. Now make it more polite. I would like this one, please. Same idea, better feeling. Now ask something. Do you have a different size? Or can I try it first? Now you are not just ordering. You are interacting. And if there is a problem, you don't need perfect words. You just need clear words. I'm sorry, this is not what I ordered. Can you help me? That's it. Real English. Not perfect English. The third situation is meeting someone new. This is the hardest one because there is no script. And this is where many people stop speaking, not because they don't know English, but because they don't know what to say next. So we make it simple again. Nice to meet you. My name is, and I work in. That's already enough. Now ask something. What do you do? How long have you been here? These questions help you because when the other person speaks, you get time to think. Now say your opinion. I think this event is really interesting. Simple, but real. And if you want to connect more, you can say, I like what you said. I think the same, but I never knew how to say it. That is not perfect English, but it is human English. And people connect with that. This is the most important thing. I want you to understand, you don't need more words. You need more courage to use the words you already have. There is one more important thing I want to tell you before we start the challenge. The reason most people cannot speak English is not because they don't know enough words. It is because they don't give themselves permission to speak. You are not waiting for permission from others. You are waiting for permission from yourself. They don't allow themselves to make mistakes. They don't allow themselves to pause, to think, or to say simple things like, how do you say this? Or can you repeat that? They think every small mistake means failure. So they choose to stay silent. And silence feels safe, but it is actually the most expensive choice because it slowly takes away your chances to improve. While you stay silent, someone else is speaking. Someone else is sharing their ideas. Someone else is making mistakes and learning from them. And slowly, they become more confident. They become more comfortable. Not because they are smarter than you, but because they are using their English. And you are still waiting. Waiting to feel ready. Waiting to be perfect. But while you are waiting, they are moving forward. From day 21 to day 30, start speaking with someone. Every day. Even just 5 minutes. It can be a friend, a partner, or even yourself. Yes, even speaking alone is okay. Ask yourself questions and answer them. The goal is not to sound smart. The goal is to speak, to stay in the conversation, to continue even when you feel nervous. Because this is the truth. You don't get stuck because you don't know words. You get stuck because you are not used to speaking. Maybe you know this feeling. Someone speaks to you in English and you understand. But when it is your turn to speak, your mind goes blank. You want to say it perfectly, so in the end, you say nothing. And in that moment, something happens inside your mind. You start thinking too much. What if I say it wrong? What if they don't understand me? What if they think my English is bad? So you stop, not because you don't know the words, but because you are afraid to use them. And that voice in your head, it feels very real. But it is not the truth. It is just fear. I was the same. When I was younger, I gave myself permission to speak, even when my English was broken. I allowed myself to sound strange, to be wrong, and to try again. I talked to strangers with very simple words. And step by step, something changed. My broken English became basic. My basic English became natural. And slowly, I became more confident. Not because I was smart, not because I had a special talent, but because I practiced, because I used the words I had, and because I stopped waiting to be perfect and started being real. Most people are not afraid of English. They are afraid of looking stupid. They are afraid of making mistakes. They are afraid that other people will judge them, so they stay silent. But the truth is, most people are not judging you. They are just waiting for you to finish your sentence. And silence keeps you exactly where you are. A wrong word can be fixed in a few seconds. But a moment when you don't speak, you cannot get it back. Now here is your 30-day challenge. If you don't change the way you practice today, you will be in the same place next year. Same words, same silence, same frustration. If you don't change this, next year, your English will look the same. You will still understand videos. You will still understand conversations. But when it is your turn to speak, you will still feel nervous. You will still stop. You will still say nothing. And the hardest part is this. You will know the answer. You will have the words in your mind, but they will not come out. And you will go home and think about that moment again. I could say it, but I didn't. And slowly, you will start to believe something is wrong with you. But nothing is wrong with you. You just didn't change the way you practice. And like everything I shared today, it is simple, but it really works. You don't need more time. You don't need more books. You just need to start. For the first 10 days, choose 3 simple words each day. Any 3 words from the 521 words. Then make 3 sentences with each word. Speak them out loud. Not in your head. Use your real voice. You can say something like, I need help. I need more time. I need to think. Then record yourself. Listen again. You will hear where you stop, where you feel unsure. That is good. That is your real level. Don't try to be perfect. Just try to feel comfortable. You want these words to feel easy, like something you can say without thinking. And let me tell you something important. At the beginning, you will feel slow. You will stop. You will forget words. That is normal. It does not mean you are bad. It means you are learning. From day 11 to day 20, start connecting your ideas. Not perfect English, real English. This is how people speak every day. You are not learning new words. You are learning how to use the words you already have. Let me leave you with one simple idea. People often ask me, how can you speak English in front of many people without fear? And my answer is very simple. I stopped trying to give a perfect speech. I started trying to have a normal conversation. Because a speech is something you perform, but a conversation is something you share with another person. And when I understood this, everything changed. I was not trying to be perfect anymore. I was just trying to communicate. And you can do that too. You don't need 5,000 words to change your life. You only need a small number of common words, used again and again in real situations. Fluency is not about knowing more words. It is about using the words you already know. And the truth is, you already know enough words. You have been learning for years. You don't need more time. You are not someone who is bad at English. You are someone who is learning to speak. Right now, you are not silent because you don't know words. You are silent because you are not used to using them. You need one thing: to start speaking. Even if it is not perfect, even if it is slow, even if you make mistakes. Because every time you speak, you get better. If you stay silent, nothing changes. But if you speak, even one sentence, you move forward. Before you leave this podcast, I want you to remember one thing. You have been learning English for a long time. You understand a lot. But when it is your turn to speak, you feel nervous and you stay silent. That is the real problem. Not vocabulary, not grammar. The real problem is that you are not using the English you already have. Today, you learned something very important. You don't need thousands of words. You only need a small number of common words, used again and again in real situations. You learn that simple words are powerful, and you learn how to connect them to create real communication. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. That moment will never come. Start now. Say one sentence. Use one word. Make one small step. Because real improvement does not come from thinking. It comes from doing. And the moment you start speaking, that is the moment your English truly begins. So after this podcast, don't just close it and go back to your normal routine. Close it and say one sentence in English. For example, today I will practice speaking English. Say it out loud. Hear your own voice, because the moment you speak, that is the moment your English really begins. That is the moment you stop only being a learner and start becoming a speaker. And maybe this is the moment you have been waiting for. Not a perfect lesson, not a perfect plan, but simply a moment when you finally decide to speak. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but now. Because if you keep waiting, nothing will change. You will still watch videos. You will still understand, but your voice will stay silent. And deep inside, you know that is not what you want. You don't want to stay quiet. You don't want to feel stuck anymore. You want to speak. You want to express yourself. You want to be heard. And you can, not because you are perfect, but because you are ready to try. So take one breath and say one sentence right now. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode.